Fold it up, we gon' burn it down.
Yeah, I still have my Christmas tree up. So what? But anyway, I'm just going to cover this storm, a little bit of plowing footage that I got you guys on this storm. It was a really weird one. It snowed all day long. It was on Saturday, yesterday. They called for, first they called for like 7 to 8 inches, and then they said, nope, that's going to be further south, like Buffalo area. And then they changed it to 4 to 6 inches, and then they changed it again to 1 to 3. But it pretty much snowed all day. It didn't seem like it was going to be very much at all. It wasn't nothing big. And then it just continued to snow all day, and it just really started to build up. So a lot of you guys know my trigger's at 3 inches, but we were sitting right about 3 inches, about, I don't know, quarter to 4. So the storm was ending at 5, and then switching over to rain, which was really weird. And the temperature was going up. Like when it started snowing, it was like in the 20s. And then when the temperature went up, it got up to like the mid 40s. So I went out, I waited till 5 and went out and just figured I'd wait till the storm was over and go knock it out. And that way I could get everything nice and clean, and then I wouldn't have to go through it a second time. But it was all starting to melt pretty quick, which made it a lot heavier and wetter. A lot of people have asked in videos before, and I've covered this so many times, about what do I do as far as charging people. And for those of you that don't know or don't remember, I've covered this so many times before that I offer it 2 different ways to my customers. I offer it, they can have a seasonal rate where I give them one flat rate, and that's for unlimited plows for the season, or they can do a per plow, and this is what it costs each time, and I invoice at the end of the month for however many times I've been there. And I make it very clear to them that in any given snowstorm, I could potentially be there 2 to 3 times, and you're getting charged for each one of those times. As soon as it drops 3 inches, usually I head out, and then once I'm done my whole route, if it's dropped another 3 inches, I go through it all again. So I make them very well aware, and I've had people tell me before, that's not right. You're kind of robbing your customers, and they're it's not really fair to them, but it is, because I make it known to them, and I make sure that we're very clear on the terms so they know ahead of time. I don't just surprise them, say this is your rate for a per plow price, and then plow it 2-3 times and then surprise them with a bill at the end of the month for being there twice or 3 times in a 24-hour period. They know ahead of time, and that's the biggest thing. You have to make them aware, and I apply that to everything, not just snow plowing. You got to be in contact with your customers. Be upfront, be honest with them, and then there will be no question in the end. This year, I've usually been out plowing a ton more times than I have been. And so this year, the counts, which is 90% of what I do, that pays the seasonal rate in advance in November or in October, they pay ahead for the season. It's usually not a big deal, but I've made out very, very well on those this year, because I haven't been out very much at all. Now in February, that's usually when we get the most amount of snow and our worst snow for the season. So that could definitely change things. I've had seasons in the past where I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I looked and there was only 1 day in February I didn't plow. So, it could be nonstop, but that way this solves any problems, whereas people aren't coming up to me and saying, well, it didn't snow very much, do I get a refund? And I've had that happen before, and and I just tell them, no, I've made this very clear to you in the beginning. This is the seasonal rate, whether it snows and I come out 30 times or 3 times, this is the rate. It's a little bit of insurance on their part, they don't have to worry about it, or I give them the option they can pay per plow, and that just kind of solves the whole problem right there. But the only conflict that I have found with that is, like I said, the trigger is 3 inches. I go out when it drops 3 inches, and some people, you'll get them calls from the people that pay for the seasonal rate, and they'll see like 2 inches in their driveway, and they call you and want to know why you haven't been there. But the thing is you will never ever get the people that pay per plow calling you at 2 inches and saying come and plow. They want to make sure there's at least 3 inches before they plow, or before you go out and plow. The ones that pay the seasonal rate will be the ones that call. But I've weeded out most of them over the years, and I've got great customers. I never have a problem. It's very rare that I ever hear from any of them. They know that I will be there, and they know I'm dependable and reliable, and I always do exactly what I say I'm going to do. So sometimes I will go if it's like just over two, like 2.5 or something. If it's a heavy wet storm, I'll go out and plow that anyway. Even though 3 is my trigger, just because it's a heavy wet snow. But it makes a big difference. If it's going to be warm that day and I know it's going to melt off, then I kind of leave that alone. But if it's going to be cold and I know that, it's just that heavy wet snow and it's not going to melt off, then I will go plow, because otherwise they drive across it, it refreezes. And then when we do get more snow, if it's even that day, it just makes it like running your plow and your truck across railroad tracks. It's horrible. So in those instances, I'll go and clean it up. But anyway, that's the 2 ways that I offer it. A lot of people have asked. I've covered this many times before, but for those of you that keep asking, that's how I do it. I offer it those 2 ways. I leave it up to the customer. That way there's no bitch and there's no complaint. And in the end, they chose the method they wanted to go with, and that's that. That just takes care of the whole thing. But as always, guys, nothing in any of my videos insinuate this is the way you have to do stuff or my way is the right way. I'm just showing you what I do and how we do it, and if you want to do it our way, then that's great, but if not, I'll never tell you how to do it or that you have to do it our way. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. I ordered parts for a piece of equipment in November. They were all on back order. They finally came in the other day, so I will be redesigning, so to speak, or upgrading something that I already have. There is not one single video on this on YouTube. I've looked everywhere, so it'll be the first, and I think it's something a lot of people will want to see or know about, so stay tuned. That will probably come tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely Tuesday, but most likely that'll be tomorrow's video. As always, guys, thanks for the support. Hit that thumbs up button if you like what you see here. It helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you in the next one.